I'm not gonna lie, I got my little feelings hurt when Los Angeles Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford decided to return to the Rams. Of course, I should have known he was just using the Las Vegas Raiders to negotiate a new deal with the Rams. You can't blame me for wanting to believe, though. It would have set the Raiders up to draft my guy, Ashton Genty, and get a quarterback to develop under Stafford. So what do the Raiders do now? They have to, and I believe they will come out of this offseason with a quarterback. Otherwise, all this win now talk is just that, talk. You can run the ball and play defense all you want to, but you have to at least have a quarterback that doesn't mess it up. It's the most important position in team sports for a reason. I'm hearing rumblings about a few other guys now. Which one do you want? Which one do you think is possibly coming to the Raiders? We start with Sam Darnold since he's the one I'm hearing the most about right now. Well, we've actually been hearing about him since the start of the offseason, but it all stopped for a minute when rumors came out that the Vikings were going to slap the franchise tag on him. But now it looks like those rumors are inaccurate, like most rumors are, or the Vikings changed their mind. The Vikings did not franchise tag Darnold. I can see why there are reports going both ways, because that's a hell of a decision to have to make. On one end, Darnold's coming off a really good year and he's only 27 years old. On the other end, the Vikings drafted J.J. McCarthy with the number 10 overall pick last year, and he's going to be a good one. I always thought the Raiders showed so much interest in him to make other teams get in on him. Then the Vikings would see that and decide to keep him. That way the Raiders can trade for McCarthy. However, it appears the interest is genuine now as quarterback coach Greg Olsen likes him. Do you think Darnold will turn back into a pumpkin this year, or do you think he can at least manage the game for the Raiders? I'm skipping Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Justin Fields because a report just came out that he's more of a priority than Russell Wilson is, so we're going with him. We all already know all the things he and head coach Pete Carroll did together, turning the Seattle Seahawks around and going to 2 Super Bowls, winning 1. I guess they had a nice little run of being perennial contenders too. That is until the Legion of Boom was no more. Then Seahawks tried to win with Wilson's arm, but that never worked out and Carroll and Wilson eventually went their separate ways. Carroll then discovered Geno Smith and had a little success with him before stepping down, and Wilson floundered in Denver and was okay in Pittsburgh. Does Carroll still see Wilson as a guy that can lead the offense with his run the ball and play defense philosophy? Is Wilson less full of himself and now realize he needs that philosophy and that he's not the kind of quarterback that wins Super Bowls with his arm? Can they both come to an understanding knowing they were better together than apart? Or is Wilson too far past his prime and it's too late? What is he, 36 now? We always look for ties and connections when it comes to signing players, especially quarterbacks. So if Wilson and Carroll doesn't happen, how about Chip Kelly, Marcus Mariota? This one would probably be one of the cheaper veteran options since he never got to elite status and isn't coming off a hot year. As a matter of fact, his career didn't pan out the way it was supposed to when he came into the league as number 2 overall pick in 2015. I believe it was an injury to his right elbow that was his undoing in Tennessee. After his time there, Mariota came in and backed up Derek Carr and looked good in limited action. Then he went to the Atlanta Falcons, and while he wasn't a star, he didn't embarrass himself either. Then after a year with the Philadelphia Eagles, he went to go back Jaden Daniels up with the Washington Commanders. He looked really good in limited snaps in Cliff Kingsbury's offense. What would he do in Kelly's offense for a second time? Could Kelly bring it out of Mariota all these years after helping him win the Heisman Trophy at Oregon? You want to find out? Mariota would likely have to compete with the rookie. Aaron Rodgers is probably at the bottom of your list of quarterbacks I mentioned today. He had a hard time evading a rush last year as he was coming off an Achilles tear just 4 plays into his 2023 season. But that kind of injury often takes a couple of years to get back to yourself, so it's not something to worry about. I would just need some assurances that he'd be fully committed to the team. So he would have to show up to the off-season program and training camp from day one. No excuses. The Raiders would be young outside of him and they're building a culture and he's in a position to lead, so he'd have to lead. And of course I'd have a young quarterback sitting behind him too. Rodgers and Adams, who just got released today by the New York Jets, got it together at the end of last year, so could that continue? Yeah, and to get Rodgers, they'd probably have to accept Adams back too. Let me ask you this about that though. Would you rather the Raiders accept those two or go into next season with the quarterbacks they have right now? At this stage in his career, what do you see Rodgers being able to do with Adams, Brock Bowers, and Ashton Genty? Around midseason last year, all the talk was about Shedeur Sanders coming in and saving the Las Vegas Raiders. His father, Deion Sanders, told the media he wouldn't let Shedeur go just anywhere. The Raiders were, of course, at the top of a short list of teams he was okay with them going to because of Tom Brady, who trained Shedeur. The Raiders looked like a top 3 team in the draft for a minute, so it was reasonable to think that they can get him. But unfortunately, as far as the draft goes, the Raiders won a couple of games too many and didn't look like they'd be able to get him. Then after the combine, things have changed, or so it seems. The Raiders are at number 6, and Sanders is dropping down draft boards without even participating in that combine. The media is saying he'll fall further than the number 6 if the Raiders don't catch him there because he's coming off as arrogant in interviews. Yeah, they called him arrogant, not serious, and unprofessional. I don't know about you, but it sounds to me like he's trying his best to make his way down to the Raiders. I mean, how are you supposed to act toward a team that you don't want to go to? The Raiders are going to come out of this offseason with a quarterback. They have to. Sam Darnold is coming in hot off his first good year in the league. Can he come in and do enough to win games with Genty in the defense? Can Wilson go back to how he played in his younger days and help the Raiders get somewhere? Can Marcus Mariota finally find the success that has eluded him back in Chip Kelly's offense? Does Aaron Rodgers have anything left? I think he has plenty left in his body, but will he commit? The first sign that a player should retire is that they can no longer stand going to training camp or the offseason program. And whoa, if Sanders makes it down to number 6. Thank you for watching. See you next time.